Hi, this is Diesel Lauder. I'm a Canadian Army veteran. I'm also the co founder and CEO of Operation Motorsport. What is Operation Motorsport? Operation Motorsport is a veteran led and operated Canadian not for profit and US 501c3 foundation based in Brighton, Ontario and Raleigh, North Carolina. In 2017, we were founded on these three simple words: excite, engage, and empower. The organization engages wounded or medically retiring service members and disabled veterans through motorsports activities to aid in their recovery and rehabilitation. We partner with top tier sports car race teams, promoters, corporations, veteran support agencies, and volunteers to provide our beneficiaries with unique motorsport immersion opportunities and experiences. This is not about finding a new career, although it is possible. It's about discovering new experiences, connections, a new team, an outlet, a diversion, or maybe just a new outlook. Whether you're a car enthusiast or not, we have a family for you. There are plenty of beneficiary or volunteer opportunities as a crew member, team support staff, media, hospitality, marketing, PR, and photo and video production. Our beneficiaries find team, identity, and purpose, and there's no obligation to discuss your background or related conditions. You can engage as much as you like or as little as you like. To learn more, go to our website, www.operationmotorsport.org. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. So thank you for joining us today. Today we are very fortunate to have Operation Motorsport join us. We have with us today, we have Diesel Lauder, the CEO and founder. We have Jason Leach, volunteer, U.S. military liaison. We have, and Chris Walsh, volunteer and USAF trustee. If you guys were looking for opportunities to get involved with organizations like Operation Motorsport, definitely make sure you follow us on our AFW2 community programs Facebook page. That's where we post most of our opportunities that are available to all of you. So let's get forward with the conversation. So I'd like to ask each of you guys, give us a little about your background and who you are.
Hi, I'm Diesel, retired from the Canadian Army in 2015 after 35 years of service. I was a sergeant major in the airborne. Prior to my retirement, I used motorsports as a transition tool for myself and realized the benefits personally and how it helped me with some of the difficult times that I was facing, both in transition and post-service. And with all those connections, we came up with the idea, and we didn't invent this. We didn't reinvent the wheel, we stole the car. Our sister organization is in the UK called Mission Motorsport, and they had been doing this for a couple of years. We were invited over there to see what they were doing and use the opportunity to learn from them and kind of mimic what they had done in the UK. And that was to help ill, injured, and wounded service members who were transitioning or had transitioned and were already veterans, disabled veterans, use motorsports. And through motorsports, what we do is we give individuals back that sense of purpose, sense of team, and share with other folks. It's a similar environment to the military environment. It's the shiny bits that people love, and it's what attracts them to motorsports, and they stay because of the team that they find, that new identity that they are looking for when they transition.
I am Major Chris Walsh. I'm an active duty special tactics officer currently in the Air Force's World Class Athlete Program, competing for Team USA and in men's bobsled, hoping to make the 22 Olympics. I found Operation Motorsport through their online iRacing program as I started getting into racing through sim racing with the Porsche Club of America, and they have a link and relationship with Operation Motorsport. And when I found out what their mission is about, I just totally understand, coming from the career field that I am and the type of guys that that I deal with, and those invisible wounds that they come back from the battlefield with and need something to transition out of the military for. I knew exactly what they're looking for. So having done real world driving and been involved in a race team as a driver, I definitely see how tight knit those racing teams are beyond just, it is about the race car drivers and being successful, but it's also about getting the car to the end in endurance racing, or making sure that everything happens in the right way, which is very similar to what it's like in special tactics and in the military. So that link is makes perfect sense to me. And so what I just was happy to get involved however I could, and try to get them in touch with the Air Force, because I knew this is something our community could use, and guys and gals from our world would need. So.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. And then my name is Jason Leach. I'm an active duty Army enlisted guy getting ready to retire here after a 28-year career. Most of my background's been inside special operations and the intelligence field. I found Operation Motorsport, though, about a year ago when I started thinking about what post-military life might look like and where I think my skills might be transferable. Always kind of been a motorsports guy. I was a high-performance driving instructor here in the Mid-Atlantic region. Always kind of in a, sports car racing things, more than like NASCAR that keeps turning left in a lot of their events. But I wanted to find opportunity inside the motorsports world. And by happenstance, I met Tiffany and Diesel at Mid-Ohio last year during a IMSA race. I heard Diesel kind of bonding with some of the crew members and talking about his military career. And for me, the one never to shy away from listening to what people have to say around me and see if I can make a connection to them. It was the airborne connection, because I've jumped out of planes for a number of years. Granted, not quite to the extent Diesel has of being a demonstrator on the Canadian parachute team, the equivalent of our Golden Knights here in the U.S. Army. But that's what started the conversation. And as we got to know each other a little bit, he invited me to come on board as a volunteer and just kind of help connect and make more inroads here in the U.S. side. So I spent a lot of time talking to the USO and trying to find some inroads there and find potential opportunities to support transitioning military members as they get ready to leave the service. So the premise behind Operation Motorsport is to help medically retiring and wounded service members, kind of find their way, give them, like Diesel indicated, team purpose and identity. And for the Air Force side, not having been in the Air Force, but I would equate it to, it's kind of like being a pilot, but you've got your entire air crew that helps put that plane in the air. And what we're talking about is, Operation Motorsport is the other side of that. That's the crew side, helping people, support that pilot or support that plane to get it up and moving. Sports car racing is very, very similar to that world.
Thanks, guys. So, it's a great organization, and you guys have some really exciting opportunities. Can you talk to us a little bit about the Excite program? I know you have a couple different levels in that. Can you talk about how people get involved in those levels and what it's all about?
So the Excite program, like, we started this on basically 3 simple words, right? Excite, engage, empower. And the Excite, as I said earlier, is all about the shiny bits. Army guys like things that make lots of noise and go fast, and Air Force guys like things that go even faster. And the shinier the airplane, the better. And that's what attracts so many folks to military service in the first place. It's that adrenaline rush. And so the Excite program is just that. It's a way that we can get folks to come out. It's that, let's do something different, but it's kind of neat. Not everybody necessarily wants to paint butterflies as a means of coping with things. So they like that adrenaline rush, and that's what they get. Folks come out sometimes, they don't want a career necessarily, or a second career. They're not looking for that. They're just looking for something to distract them. And so the Excite program is a way to get them involved, whether it's with a team or whether it's just in a car corral with other folks that like cars and have that same passion about things that go fast. And then from there, and that exposure, they can move on to the next step. And for some, they never move on beyond that, other than maybe getting involved as a volunteer. But through the Excite program, at least they see there's opportunity in motorsports, and that the skill sets that they've developed over their careers have a lot of value in this environment.
That sounds awesome. So what if someone that comes out and participates in the Excite program, what if they find the passion and they want to, pursue it to the next level? Is there ways that you guys can help them, pursue it as a career or get more training or join a team? How does that work?
So yeah, if they like what they see and they have those skill sets, what we do is then we help them, we set them up. In some cases, we use in Canada we use the transition centers. In the U.S., we use the USO Pathfinder program, and they have a lot of opportunities to either further their education through those programs as transitioning service members, but there's also a lot of opportunities within the teams. The teams are looking for crew members who are also looking to expand their skill sets, and whether that's as a crew member learning something new or actually just learning from the crew themselves. So we've had folks that come just for hospitality and or photo, video, things like that. And there's always a way that we can keep them involved if they want to stay involved.
Yeah, and I'd like to just expand upon that a little bit, just to kind of paint it a little bit more into the context, depending on on who's watching this video today and where they're at in their own Air Force career. So Diesel alluded to it. We had an E9 in the Army who worked for Lamborghini Hospitality at an event last year. He actually, when I spoke to him, the car racing side for him, he didn't care about. But he liked the idea, though, of working with a OEM and a race team from a hospitality VIP perspective. And he brought a lot of value to that just from his Army career and being in the food services. We've had, people who had audio video backgrounds, and they've gone to Wales with us and they recorded everything that we did as a team in order to help, build some of the YouTube videos and stuff that we have, or help us build some branding and marketing brochures. But they've also worked for the teams. They worked for the series as well as, to capture those moments on track, to get access into parts of a track and a facility that your average fan will never have access to, is really kind of neat and really kind of, you're getting behind the scenes look that goes on in sports car racing that you would never see on TV just from watching it, or even just sitting in the fan or sitting in the seats.
And to add to Jason's point, in the Excite program, we've got what we call diversionary therapy. And through diversionary therapy, we've also got something that we now have, an iRacing league. And Jason can speak a little bit more about the iRacing, because some folks just want a diversion, whether it's a weekly diversion or something new. And I know that Chris can speak about iRacing as well. And it's working out for us really well, especially in these challenging times that we're facing right now.
Yeah, so on the iRacing side, and then I'm going to kick it over to Chris to kind of get his perspective, because he's heavily involved in the sim world and is a very accomplished sim racer. But COVID-19 presented a lot of challenges for us. The racetracks were closed. Even if you look at an organization like NASCAR, they ended up going into iRacing in the virtual world to still keep their drivers focused on their sport, but also engage their fan base. SRO did it through Assetto Corsa. IMSA did it through iRacing. So we saw that as a natural progression and opportunity to engage our beneficiaries. But what we found, though, too, is we are engaging some of our supporters and potentially finding new volunteers to come be a part of our organization. So it actually had a bigger impact than we initially planned.
I got a phone call from the USO Pathfinder group, and they kind of informed me, and all I heard was cars, Lambos, Porsches, and I was like, yep, good to go. The opportunity that you get just to be able to come out here and actually see these kind of cars, work with teams on hand, and learn. They don't just say, well, get out of my way and move, and I'll do it. They know. They teach you.
I found out about Operation Motorsports through the program I'm in with the military. They're helping me transition into the civilian life, and this was a great way for me to take my passion and see what it's like on the high-performance side. I'm here to pick up what I can learn from them so that I can use it with my future career as being an automotive mechanic. This is a great experience whether you're just a at-home kind of person working on your car, changing oils or stuff like that, or wanting to go into the high-performance side. I'm loving how the team's taking me in and really showing me everything. It'll show you just about everything you need to know from the driver standpoint to the tire changing.
I'm at home doing nothing because of my medical stuff. Besides the basic brake changing, oil changing, tire rotation, I've actually learned how to assemble and disassemble some engine parts, change some axles, you know, do some alignments and stuff. So give it a try. You never know. This was nothing that I expected. I did not expect to be fully suited, jumping over a wall while cars are going 100 and something miles an hour. It's more than working on cars. For one, you're building friendships. You know, you're meeting new people. And if working on cars is not your thing, Operation Motorsports has other things that you can do.
You know, the benefits to iRacing and e-motorsports is it goes beyond just, you know, getting behind your game console and zoning out for a couple of hours. We run a very professional, structured league where we get together on Tuesday nights, and it starts usually with about a 60-minute or so practice, and then it goes into qualifying, and then it goes into a 60-minute sprint race. And we have multiple classes, multiple experience levels, everywhere from, you know, the guy or gal that's been in iRacing for about 2 weeks, all the way to drivers who have 10 plus years inside of the simulator. We have folks who are professional rated drivers in the real world joining us on occasion. And then we have people who are just very accomplished sim racing racers as well. So the benefit here though with iRacing, and this is why you see professional drivers using it, the amount of time in simulation that goes into building the track and the car dynamics is to the point that professional race car drivers rely on iRacing and the track layouts to learn tracks before they ever actually go to them. So if you think about it from a team perspective, that buys down travel costs, that buys down fuel, tires, it buys down risk of the driver making a mistake and destroying a car. So there's a lot of money there that gets saved, but that just speaks to the level in which iRacing has been adopted inside of the real motorsports world, you know, towards a valuable training tool. Now for Operation Motorsport, we're using it as diversionary therapy to engage, but we're also using it as a potential training and identification tool because our long-term goals, and we can talk about it a little bit, is the race of remembrance, to where we will field a team of Operation Motorsport participants. We're the only North American contingent to date that I know of to do this at Anglesey Circuit in Wales. And our long-term goal is to identify, bring over veteran drivers who are part of the Operation Motorsport team. Up until this year, drivers had to hold international competition licenses, which for your average military member, they probably do not have because they have a day job of serving the country. But as we look forward, though, some of those licensing requirements are starting to drop a little bit. We see opportunity to build an all Operation Motorsport team. And Chris, I'm going to kick it over to you though, because you can also relate from the sim racing side to the real world and kind of paint that a little bit more realistic than I can.
Yeah, I would say that well, through Operation Motorsport, what the iRacing League gives me the opportunity to do is I love racing in general. So that's how I got into racing, was through the sim. And I transitioned my sim time into real world racing. It was pretty initially successful, like quickly fastest in the cars that I got in with teams that had been racing together for a while. And that was all just off sim racing. But beyond that, what I get to do is I get to engage with these guys more than just on Tuesdays. Like we have a Discord group where all the beneficiaries and active members are in, and we're chatting all week long about here's the next track, here's some tips and tricks on how to do it. And so it's really cool to stay involved and feel like there's a little community there with the beneficiaries and the active members. So I think that is a huge piece of it. It's very tight knit. The guys are all great and very professional and like gentlemen, you know, it's not contentious, and it is competitive, but not necessarily to the point that they want to see each other step on each other's heads to get to the top. So that's great. And iRacing Race of Remembrance, I will be racing in that with in the pro beneficiary class with a W amputee driver named Adam, and he's incredibly quick considering his limitations. And so, you know, getting a chance to like see guys overcome those types of situations, get the sim to practice so that, you know, he can get out in the real world and race if he desires is pretty rewarding. And I think iRacing giving us that opportunity to engage more frequently, and you know, it's less cost, obviously. That's a great thing.
So do you need special hardware or equipment to participate in the iRacing?
So on the iRacing side, no. If you have a computer or a laptop that's you know within a couple years old, you've probably got enough hardware and enough processing speed to run the simulator. The nice thing too about iRacing is they try to keep the entry cost relatively low because they want to reach a broad audience. Now, You can absolutely, though, take it to the extreme and have a $10,000 sim rig with triple monitors and a $1,500 steering wheel and $2,000 pedals underneath your feet. But you could also get into it simply with a decent, mid-grade computer and a game controller. And we have people that are competing that way. And I will tell you, and Chris could probably attest to this, it doesn't really matter how much money you spend on your rig. It's more about spending time becoming good at the simulator and getting good at your race craft, because I know plenty of guys who are on, and we see it with our beneficiaries and some of our other folks where they're holding their stuff together with duct tape and paper clips, and they're faster than 75% of the field out there. And it comes down to, their physical ability to some extent, but really that's they call it working on the nut behind the wheel. And that's what you want to be working on is your mental performance and how you approach it. And we're starting to see studies too, talking about esports where the positive mental aptitudes and increases from esports is changing how it's being viewed in the mental health world. Still a lot of initial research, and it's being done on a day-to-day basis, but people are starting to change their minds about, especially some younger generations where they're sitting behind a game console or sitting behind a computer screen all day. Is it really kind of rotting their brain? Or at least that's what my parents would have told me. It's some of that stigma starting to change.
It's very cool. So you can get into iRacing, fairly cost effectively, but what about, going to the in-person events? Is that expensive? What kind of cost are there to our warriors?
So for our beneficiaries, it's zero cost. And that's from the time they leave their house till the time they get home. The only thing we ask for them is their time and their focus, and them coming into an event with an open mind and willing to work. You're not coming into this event to just watch cars go around the track. You're not coming in just to watch what goes on behind the scenes. You are expected to work and integrate and be a part of the team. Now, that doesn't mean that every team is the right fit, but we do our best to vet the team, but also vet the beneficiaries, so we know we've got a better than average chance that we're linking up the right people to be together for that weekend. On the other side of the coin, though, Operation Motorsports covers everything from travel, and then we have partnerships with various teams to where they'll help cover, or the series itself, where they'll cover the credentials for the individual coming to the event, along with food and resources once on site. All of our beneficiaries get outfitted in team gear. We don't showboat. There are some veteran organizations out there that try to show that they're working with military or veterans. That's not our style. We call that the gray man. We want the people that we have to blend in and be a part of the team. That includes, dressing, having a crew shirt, same pairs of pants, same hat, to even living with the team if it's feasible and possible for the weekend. So it just all varies, but zero cost to the beneficiary.
That's great. So a lot of our AFW2 folks and a lot of the other veterans and the other services, they have physical challenges. Are there any physical challenges that, are disqualified, or do you guys adapt most things to people with physical challenges? How does that part work?
We have had folks with many different disabilities. We took a fellow by the name of Liam Dwyer, who was an accomplished race car driver, all the way to Wales with us. He is an amputee, and Liam, accomplished driver. We don't have a lot of individuals that have physical limitations, but not to say that we would not make every attempt. Obviously, being a crew, somebody who is part of the crew, going over the wall and fueling a car is not going to be an option for someone who's bound to a wheelchair or has some other physical handicap. But we would then try to put them into a role where, remember, what we try to do is team and purpose. So finding a purpose within that team for an individual and cater as much as we can.
So I feel like we've covered, a pretty wide gamut of topics today, and we have a pretty good idea of Operation Motorsport, your mission and what you guys are all about. Is there anything that we haven't covered today that you think is beneficial to our audience?
So I know we kind of talked about the iRacing thing. You know, we talked a little bit about the in-person stuff, but you know, really what I would also tell for anybody out there that may not qualify as a beneficiary, maybe they're not, you know, being medically released for whatever reason from the Air Force, but they're still interested in sports car racing. They're still interested in motorsports at large, and they're still interested, or they want to give back to the military community. Operation Motorsport is always looking for volunteers to come and join our organization to help support the program from a wide variety of, you know, audio, video. I mean, we've got a YouTube channel that you've got a couple folks in their mid 40s or early 50s that are learning some of that stuff as they go. You've got folks, you know, kind of working on the tech side as well that, you know, we're spread a little thin sometimes, it feels like, on the volunteer side. So if you got people out there that want to, you know, dip their toe into the nonprofit world, learn what that's like, but still be a part of a very good veteran advocacy program, come talk to us, because I'm sure we've got positions where you can help.
I would also add that, you know, for guys that, you know, and I've seen this with teammates of mine who are struggling, maybe some mental health things, and are not technically disabled, or don't, you know, maybe there's a stigma there. Like, getting involved as a community and just having a community of people that you can talk to and do something that you enjoy, whether it's through iRacing or however we can pull you into the fold, I would just encourage people to please, you know, reach out. You know, this is a great group. They're willing to support you, and I think you'll find a lot of benefit here. So that is a big part of this as well, you know. So it's not just physical disabilities, like there's unseen wounds that need to be addressed, and that is a big part of what Operation Motorsport is trying to do. So please, if you feel that's where you're at, you know, reach out to us and see what we can help out with.
And if you need a little time, when we do our iRaces, there's going to be one on October 20th and one on October 27th, and then followed by the iRace of Remembrance. Those are all broadcast live on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. And there's always a chat window open. I've, you know, sat there and chatted with individuals from all over the globe who are just interested in what we're doing. And just by that little bit of dialogue, it gives them the encouragement to reach out to us and see where it can take them. So yeah, we're always there, ready to listen.
That's great. You know, here at AFW2, October is the month of connectedness. So especially going through this COVID pandemic, you know, a lot of people have become isolated. You know, they're not socializing like they used to. So it's a really good point, Chris, about, you know, being connected online and through the iRacing. It's a very good outlet for some people that, you know, maybe they've got underlying health conditions and they don't want to be out around a lot of people. So the iRacing would be a great outlet, or chatting with Diesel on the Facebook page or the YouTube page. So those are very good resources.
Yeah, and you can also find us as well, in addition to YouTube, on Tuesday nights during the iRacing. But, you know, we're active on Facebook, we're active on LinkedIn, we're active on Twitter and Instagram as well. So, you know, we're across all the major platforms. Please, you know, come connect, be a part of our organization, and let's connect.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, I really want to thank you for coming in and spending some time with us today and telling our audience, you know, all about Operation Motorsports and what you guys are all about.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.